So good day everyone. Here we are again with another video tutorial about the ISP-Tik version 1.8 with a lot of changes in the following. I added currency on business profile settings. This is actually important when it comes to multi uh, national or international support. And then we have revised the Mikrotik settings for multiple support in the near future. So apparently the database has been adjusted to work or to support for multiple Mikrotik in the near future. So probably it will be implemented or featured as of uh, 3, version 2.0, which is gonna be on March, I think, depending on the availability. Depending on the availability of my time. Okay, so subscription or plan now supports PPPoE, Dhcp, and hotspot postpaid clients, meaning this is for the monthly subscription. So it supports Dhcp, whatever you call that, the the other workaround for setting up internet clients using the HCP or the native VLAN technique, and then the hotspot. Okay, actually these two are just synonymous. You could actually run VLAN on hotspot using using the MAC address of the router as a login credentials or details. So for further details about that just research it in YouTube if you could find a very good tutorial for that. Okay. So users interface alert enhancement. So I use actually Sweet Alert.js for the alert mechanism or the message box. Then hotspot module optimizations, voucher generation and printing. So I have also optimized code for voucher generation and printing, and of course I got also uh, minor bug fixes and security updates. So this is gonna be a the first update for this year, and I hope everybody will like this update prior to your recommendations and suggestions. So just the same, the default login account is gonna be at ISP-Tik username and then admin as the passwords. Excuse me. So just the same as the at the first run, it will look for Mikrotik connection or configurations. So you will be redirected to the Mikrotik setup page. So my Mikrotik address is this one. So I'm going to supply password also. Okay, so just save the settings and you're good to go. Anyway, I've discussed this on previous tutorials. If you're having hard time setting up ISP-Tik for your Mikrotik, you can just look uh, for the video tutorials on my YouTube account. So here, as you can see, I have successfully integrated ISP-Tik to my Mikrotik. So there are a couple of changes. As what I've said on the updates, uh, instead of making the Mikrotik setup as a single modal, now it supports for it is actually future proof for support for multiple Mikrotiks. So you could actually add a Mikrotik, additional Mikrotiks. So these features will be available, as what I've said, as features in version 2.0. This is gonna be a game changer features of of ISP-Tik, and I hope to complete this in March this year. So the changes are, so uh, uh, if you will take a look at the significant changes I've made, I have actually removed the interfaces, the other inputs or fields, just like the PPPoE, uh, addresses, remote addresses, disconnected PPPoE. Now for Mikrotik settings, these are now the needed or the required values or fields in setting up a Mikrotik router on your ISP-Tik. So let's just select the interface for graphing. So I'm gonna be selecting bridge hotspot. So I've changed. This is what I'm saying while ago. The messaging or the alert mechanism I have changed. Instead of making it a banner on the page, I have actually created or utilized the Sweet Alert GS alert framework. So Mikrotik settings has been successfully updated. So okay. So if we will take a look on our dashboard, now we can see or we will see the graphing values of the current bandwidth utilization of our Mikrotik. Might as well, if we go to the Mikrotik dashboard, take note, this loading depends on your internet connections. Since I am I am on peak hours, I'm actually using internet uh, during these peak hours. So it's quite uh, slow. So take note also, later on we're gonna be discussing all those mentioned features, additional changes that has been made on this version 1.8. Alright, so let's just reconnect. So how many clients do we have? Only few clients. It's just peak hours. Okay, just the same. This runs on Winbox. Not Winbox. VirtualBox, I mean. Oracle VirtualBox. Finally, it loaded. Okay, so that is the current utilization of my network. So I've selected the interface for my hotspot in PPPoE. So just the same, ISP-Tik will only read your configurations. So I presume or I assume that you have already set up your P2P configurations, P2P configurations or ISP business configurations on your respective routers. Okay, so what are the changes? So this is actually the unactivated or unlicensed version. So I will just make mine as activated. So I will just activate. Okay. So I have activated my version. So if I refresh, so now I have the activated version. Uh, so what are the changes? So the changes are, so if we will take a look on the subscriptions, as what I've said, uh, I have preloaded or added the PPPoE, the HCP, and the hotspot profiles because these are the profiles needed for your business subscriptions. Okay, so let's discuss first these PPP profiles. So on PPP profiles, it will just read your existing profiles from your PPP profiles entries in your Mikrotik. So to bind this one, so I believe I have already discussed this. So to bind this one into your billing account, just need to click this bind button. So as you can see, we can select, we can now actually select uh, IP pool instead of making this as a global variable. Remote addresses or IP pools can now be specifically allocated for a specific profile. This is actually in response to the configurations of some members and for those people who have availed ISP-Tik and want to use this kind of setup instead. So this is actually in response to those members. Okay, so you can now select IP pool assignment for your profiles. So in case of my setup, I have actually PPP profile. So the price would be 200. So just save this one. So subscription successfully added. So all right, I believe uh, yeah, there we have it. So it actually shows which Mikrotik the profile has originated, and then what type of connection. These connections could be PPPoE, DHCP, or hotspot. Alright? So for the speed limit, you can actually uh, put speed limit on the native PPPoE speed assignment, or you could actually tweak that via address pool on your Q3. Okay, so you can also edit. So if in case you want to make your setup easier, so save the changes. Okay, subscription successfully updated. Alright, so for the DHCP server, it's just the same. So I believe this DHCP server is uh, set up for those P2P setup or ISP business setup that uses VLAN tagging, or the client router has the capability of VLAN tagging. So in response to those current setup, I believe this will also support those kind of setup. So just the same, I believe that the CP server has interfaces for your pool, for your server. So if for example, you have a IP pool for 5 Mbps, I believe those pool have DCP server and interfaces. You could actually do that. Just click. So I will just this actually the list here is just the list of your DHCP server available in your Mikrotik. So if for example, we have this particular DHCP server. Okay, so gateway, what is the gateway? So that's the gateway. So DHCP is uneditable. So IP pool, okay, DHCP. So what's the price? So this is actually the same for the profiles. Just for the billing system to work flawlessly with different kinds of subscriptions or plans. Alright? Just the same with hotspot profiles. You could actually tweak profiles. You could actually bind what particular profiles. Like for example, this one. I have a monthly 1 Mbps for my hotspot. I believe this has a user on the Mikrotik hotspot entries. So these profiles could actually be bind, name the price, okay, or set the price, then save. So take a look at this one. So when I go back to subscriptions, there we have a set of different plans of subscriptions, uh, namely hotspot, DHCP, and PPPoE. So these are the different subscriptions available in your P2P business. So ISP-Tik has the ability to track or record the monthly subscriptions for this particular uh, plans or subscriptions. So and then when we head to clients, since we have set the price and speed accordingly, so this also works for what I have shown you a while ago. Was how to bind existing profiles or servers into the billing subscriptions data. So just the same, if we click add subs, instead of binding, we could actually add subscriptions via the add subscriptions button, and then just select the type of connections, and then ISP-Tik will automatically determines which connections or which has to be written. So these values has to be written on the database, local database of ISP-Tik, as well as to the entries, respective entries to your microtext. Okay? So just the same. So if for example, I have to create a hotspot uh, subscriptions. So I mean like 1 month, uh, then at 2 Mbps. Okay? So local IP or the gateway IP, these are all optional. Aside from the pool, these are all other values are actually optional. So pool HS, so 1 month at 2 Mbps. So to satisfy those criteria, I would have to put 2M/2M, and then my price is uh, let's say 1,000. Okay, then save. Okay, new subscriptions created. So take note, I have actually created subscriptions. So connection, hotspot, 1 month at 2 Mbps, 2 MB speed limit, and then the price is 1,000. So if I will look into my microtext IP hotspot user profiles, there I have a one the previously created profile from ISP-Tik. So uh, it it creates also entries directly to the microtext. Okay? So pull are actually carried out. Okay, so that is actually the automation. That is the automation that we are talking about. Okay, so much for that. Let's go to clients. Let's not make this long. So 20 minutes already. It's gonna be above. So for clients, what are those subscriptions? So if you take a look on the subscriptions menu or field, there you will have the profiles available from your different subscriptions. So we have hotspot 1 month at 2 Mbps at 1,000 currency. Hotspot monthly at 1 Mbps at 700. So DHCP LAN at 700 currency. This is actually for the DHCP. So PPPoE default at currency. Okay, so let's head to currency. Oh, let's head to currency. Currency. So business. So let's make this PHP for peso and then save. Okay. So let's head back to our clients. Uh, and then add clients. Okay, so there we have our currency PHP to fully describe uh, what subscription is the client currently subscribed. Okay, so that is the changes. So there's no problem with your setup. So if you will take a look on Mikrotik also, as what I've discussed, we have minimal entries or inputs needed. Just the IP address, the API port, username and password, Mikrotik description, and then the Mikrotik model. So that's it. All right. That is the update so far. So just stay tuned for the version 2.0. It's gonna be a game changer for ISP-Tik. ISP-Tik will actually hold significant uh, or ISP-Tik. The aim of ISP-Tik is to make a significant uh, ease or convenience for your ISP business. Okay, so that's gonna be it. That's pretty much it for this 1.8 version. So I will have to polish some UI interaction for this before I make the final upload. Okay, so what else I am missing? Reports, materials, users, business. So I think that was all. I think as per version 1.8, those are the things that need to be discussed. Alright? So, peace.